Alright guys, welcome. Today we're going to be going over how to use the Pokemon Raging Bolt in VGC. Specifically, at the time I'm recording this, we're going to be going over Regulation I 2025. However, most of this is going to be applicable no matter no matter when you're watching it. As long as most of this is going to be applicable as long as Raging Bolt is legal, this will be applicable. Alright, so right now you can see that it is in fact quite high on the usage, according to Picolytics. In fact, according to this, 20% of teams have a Raging Bolt on them. This is obviously, I'm pretty sure, going to go down as Regulation I evolves. However, it's still like a very strong Pokemon. So, how do you want to use it? Well, obviously, Raging Bolt has very good stats right off the bat. The stats and the typing really stand out. First of all, Electric and Dragon are just really, really good. The 4 times resistance to Electric. I think every team either needs to be able to resist Electric really well, or just have an immunity straight up. So it can definitely fulfill that role. And being weak to Fairy and Ground are 2 kind of big weaknesses. However, they're not huge, and Dragon and Ice don't matter all that much, to be honest. As far as stats, obviously, it's slow Pokemon, but it's not super slow. So you can probably run it on a Tailwind team, and you're not going to be really worried. But most of the time, Raging Bolt is going to find its home on teams that don't have inherent speed control, instead are more bulky and tend to switch out more. So as far as movesets, obviously you're going to be wanting to run an electric move. 2 electric moves, because you're always going to be wanting to run Thunderclap. You should probably always be running Thunderclap. It's just a really good move. Along with probably just Thunderbolt. Thunder maybe on a rain team, but probably just Thunderbolt most of the time. And then your choice of a Dragon move, which you probably want, because there's a lot of Dragon-type legendaries, especially in Regulation I. It's most of the time going to be Draco Meteor, but it can also be Dragon Pulse depending on your team, like what your team needs, and mostly on your item. So as far as items go, you have Booster Energy, works very well. You also have an Assault Vest set. So let's see, Thunderbolt, Thunderclap, Draco Meteor, and then a 4th, probably just coverage. Does he get Icy Wind? I feel like he gets Icy Wind. He does not. Also, there's kind of an interesting Calm Mind set with probably Leftovers, Protect, Calm Mind, Thunderclap, and probably Draco Meteor still. Draco Meteor just outclasses Dragon Pulse in almost every way. You can definitely justify Dragon Pulse in cases like Booster Energy, where you don't want to be dropping your special attack when you only have a one-time use of the Booster Energy. But Dragon Pulse is not a good move. It's only 80 base power. It's just not good. It's usable, but it's yeah. Oh, it's 85. Okay, so it's better than I thought, but it's still not very good. 90 base power is kind of an important thing, an important stat line to get to. Most like Thunderbolt and most strong stab moves are going to probably want to be 90 base power. So and the fact that it has no additional effect as well is just kind of not the best. Most of the time, I would probably recommend whatever Showdown recommends, just a lot of HP, a lot of special attack. In some situations, you could definitely be running like more speed. However, like even max speed, you're like going to be like not super fast. And you can outspeed pretty much everything in Tailwind, but you can't outspeed everything, which is kind of brutal. And as far as threats would go, I would like be aware of. I would be aware of Choice Star Pokemon outspeeding you even in Tailwind, which like is a distinct possibility because your speed is not that good. Also, I think in general, it's not a bad thing whatsoever to put some just speed into. I think it's probably honestly really good to put some speed into your Raging Bolt, even if you're a slow Raging Bolt and don't plan on moving first. Just because of other Raging Bolt, like right now, it is really popular in being able to, obviously you hit yourself are super effective with Draco Meteor Dragon Balls. So that's just very, like, speed can be very important, mostly against other Raging Bolt. 75 is not a super popular speed, but other Raging Bolt I think are enough of a threat to justify it. Now, for those of you who don't know, Thunderclap is Raging Bolt's signature move. It's basically Sucker Punch but electric type. It's the exact same thing, and also special. So like it's the same thing. And for those of you who don't know, the way it works is if your opponent uses a special attack, not a special attack, if your opponent uses a damaging attack, and you use Thunderclap, it's going to hit him first. However, if your opponent doesn't, it uses a status move like Protect, which wouldn't really matter, but like Calm Mind, Nasty Plot, like Dragon Dance, any status move, it's not going to hit. So if your opponent uses a damaging move, Thunderclap hits before they move. If they use a status move, it doesn't do anything. Also, keep in mind that the way it works is it has to attack before. So for example, if you want to Thunderclap an Urshifu, and the Urshifu uses Aqua Jet, Aqua Jet's going to hit before Thunderclap because they both have +1 priority, and obviously Urshifu's faster than Raging Bolt, so it's going to have no effect. You're not going to be able to, like, Aqua Jet's going to hit first, and then Thunderclap is just going to not do anything. It's just going to just peter out. So that's important to keep in mind, that there's some weird interactions with priority moves that Thunderclap and Sucker Punch both have. So that's something to keep in mind. As far as a Terra type, there's a lot of options. First, a lot of people have been running Electric just for the added damage to Thunderclap, because Thunderclap is a very strong move. However, there's also Grass just to get some ground resistance and also become immune to spores and rage powders. And I would say those are the two biggest ones, are definitely Electric and Grass. Those are the two I would recommend. You can also run Fairy and just get an immunity to Dragon, which works in mirror matchups very well. I don't know how good it is in other matchups, because even though it feels like it should be good into like Miraidon, it's actually not that good in the Miraidon, because you just suddenly take neutral from its electric type moves, and Miraidon's almost always going to be wanting to click electric type moves anyway. So it can be good, but I would not recommend it as much as I would. I would recommend Electric or Grass. Grass for defense, for a defensive one, and Electric for an offensive one, obviously. Now, what partners are you going to be wanting with Raging Bolt? So you're going to have one of the biggest strengths about Raging Bolt is that it's super flexible. It can, like I said before, it can go on Tailwind teams. It can go on Sun teams. It can go on even Rain teams, because it can just run Thunder and just do major damage. It doesn't really function that well in Trick Room, although it's possible. It's usable in Trick Room, but I probably wouldn't recommend it in Trick Room. But it's definitely, you're not going to be super angry, because most Pokemon are going to outspeed it. So yeah, I would say it definitely is strongest on a Sun team. I think it's definitely where it finds the biggest strengths, but it can go on really any team, especially because it's an answer to Miraidon. First of all, it's pretty strong in Miraidon, especially with Assault Vest, and because you resist the electric type moves. But it also is good on pretty much anything just as a sun answer because you're benefiting from the sun. Not so much with booster energy because booster energy obviously does the same thing as the sun does for it. But yeah, so Raging can pretty much go on any team. Let's scroll down here. So like obviously this is like the MMB team that's on right now. Very clearly, I mean this is like all the most common Pokemon pretty much right now. I would say Whimsicott is a good partner. Like Whimsicott and Sonor, like Raging Bolt just sounds like a really scary core of a team. You don't have any repeat typings. But I think the biggest strength of Raging Bolt is that it can go on almost any team. It's a very bulky Pokemon that can go on almost any team. And it does not huge damage, but it does like good damage. And with like an offensive Terra type and offensive item, it can do huge damage. But also, it doesn't really care that much about speed control because of its unique move Thunderclap. So, yeah, I think that's all I have to say about Raging Bolt. Definitely use this thing. It's very strong. It feels very good to use. And Eve out.